Hello everybody, welcome to another video and another review of an Hammer film of 1959's The Mummy. This one, again, starring Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee, and once again directed by Terence Fisher. In this one, uh, Peter Cushing plays the part of an archaeologist who discovers a tomb, and he awakens the mummy, played by Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee goes from playing Dracula, the creature in Hammer's first horror film, The Curse of Frankenstein, and then from playing Dracula, and now he's playing the mummy. And Peter Cushing is the archaeologist, which awakens the mummy, Christopher Lee, for him to seek revenge for him being awakened by Peter Cushing. And of course, he travels back to Victorian England, and the mummy, Christopher Lee, rampages through Victorian England, disposing of anyone who gets in his way. And like I've said at the beginning of the video, this one was once again directed by Terence Fisher. This one was made in 1959. On the cover of the mummy, it says nerve-shattering shock. Well, it probably was for the cinema goers back then, in the 1959, who went to see it for the first time. They was probably frightened by it, but in today's standards, today's modern times, it was pretty tame. It's pretty tame for today's modern times. But of course, Hammer being Hammer, well, they literally redefined the form of horror. Their first film was The Curse of Frankenstein, and the second one was Dracula, and they made The Hound of Baskervilles, which I reviewed a few weeks ago, and now this one, The Mummy. And of course, this one was the last one to be made in the 1950s. This one was made in 1959. We were coming to the end of the 50s, and we was getting towards the 1960s. But like I've said, the mummy, Christopher Lee, he rampages through Victorian England, seeking out Peter Cushing, the archaeologist who awakened him, and he's seeking revenge for him being awakened. Of course, in this one, there is a look-alike actress who looks like exactly the Queen that Christopher Lee, the mummy, was guarding. She's the exact splitting image of her. And of course, he breaks into the home of Peter Cushing, and he tries to do away with him. And of course, the locals, they hunt him down and try to do away with him. But it's the mummy, Christopher Lee, he seems to be indestructible. This was like I've said, was a great. I don't know whether it was a success or not. It probably was like many of the Hammer films before it, they were all made money, and this was the start of Hammer's reign of terror, if you were pardon the pun. As we were, like I've said, as we moved into the 1960s, when the next decade, where Hammer films continue to be made, and this one once again, is starring Peter Cushing, who's becoming a horror icon, along with Christopher Lee. And you know that later on in the decades to come, Peter Cushing was in quite a number of old horror films, and so was Christopher Lee. But this, like I've said, this one was pretty tame by today's standards. Uh, Once again, showing that Hammer could make very, really good horror films, and they set the standard for horror films to come. And, Hammer, and of course, Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee would go on to star in one or two other horror films. It wasn't until about as we got into the 70s when they would appear again together in in more Dracula films, like Dracula AD 1972, and the final Dracula film, which was made in 1973, The Static Rites of Dracula. Those were the last two horror films, the Hammer horror films, Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee starred in together. Well, that's the end of my review of the 1959's Hammer film, The Mummy. I'll see you all again in another review.